I am struggling right now with motivation and getting things accomplished for my goals. So what I've done is I've gone out and I've researched, all so you don't have to. Come along just while I show you what I do to help implement different goal plannings into my bullet journal. So why do I want to goal set? For me, it's purely selfish. I want to get off my ass. I feel more motivated to do things. I feel like I have direction, a guide on where to go. It challenges me. It gives me a purpose. And I want to feel good, honestly. And I know that I can accomplish that by doing goals that add value and purpose to my life. How am I finding my goals? There are so many ways that you can do this. I asked myself the question, what do you currently feel like and where do you want to be going? And for me right now, it's quite the opposite of what I'm feeling right now. I feel very lost. I feel very stagnant. I feel stuck in a position and I want a little bit more freedom. So I want freedom to choose what I want to do when. That's what my word ended up coming out to be. I want to feel free to get up a little bit later, hang out with family and friends. I want to feel free to choose spending an entire day working on Create with Kate, doing stickers and custom bullet journals and creating new notepads because I'm passionate about sharing that. I also want to feel the freedom and ease of choosing to stay in my chair for the afternoon because I've really sunk my teeth into a good book and I don't want to stop because the chapter is just that good. So freedom and ease to feel flexible and choose what I want to do when. This could be a good strategy for you just to give you a little bit more of a guidance when you are picking out your goals so you can attach an emotion behind what you want to accomplish. For me, I'm a very big emotion person, and if it doesn't give me some sort of benefit in some way, whether that's making me feel good, challenging me, providing a sense of urgency, I will not likely do it. You can also look at pure intuition when it comes to setting your goals. A lot of people do have that where right off the bat, I know what I want to do. That's great. I actually don't have that skill, so I need to do a little bit of journaling. So I did different journaling prompts and challenges in order for me to get this goal mind in place. For me personally, I set a timer on my phone for 30 minutes for each of these challenges, and I ended up writing them out just in a lined notepad. I find this to be a better way of planning things out, to be honest, because it slows my brain down. I actually have to sit, think, and resonate with what words are coming out and being written on the page. The first journaling prompt that I did was the start stop list, or what I also like to call energy givers and energy takers. I asked myself questions like, what is currently serving me? What is not? What would I like to add more to my life? What's bringing me joy? What's taking away my energy, making me feel down on myself, angry? A while back, I ended up finding a screenshot of energy givers and energy takers, and it's been my home screen for the last little while, which was funny. When I was going through this exercise, a lot of those energy takers, for example, scrolling through my phone constantly before I go to bed, ended up on the stopping list. I want to sub that out with a habit that I am going to get energy from, just to help with overall mindset and clarity. That's one of the huge goals that I end up discovering and emphasizing throughout this exercise. The second exercise for journaling that you can look at doing is something like a brain dump or a mind mapping exercise. You can look at the different categories of your life and ask some of the following questions. What are you avoiding? So this could be something that you're scared to do. It could be something that you don't know all of the answers to, and that's a big one for me. If I don't know something, I tend to avoid it. It probably ends up being something that you do need to focus on a little bit more. You can ask yourself what makes you feel good, and maybe you want to integrate a little bit more of that into your life. I feel amazing when I get out for a walk in the morning with my dog, listening to a podcast. It sets my mind in such a clarity mode. The next one, I absolutely love this question. What goals could you accomplish that would make accomplishing other goals a little bit easier or completely unnecessary? For me, what I ended up discovering is that I prioritize things like time, money, and energy. If I don't have enough time, I feel really overwhelmed. If I feel like I can't participate in activities or live a lifestyle that I want due to monetary reasons, I get upset. And if I don't have enough energy, I'm not really the nicest person to be around, to be honest. So a lot of my goals are focused on those three things. While I was doing this mind map, one question that came up was, what makes me jealous? I find that jealousy is a perfect thing to tap into when you use it for the right reasons. For me and my small business, I'm always constantly comparing myself to other small business, and especially in the area. They give me a motivation and a drive to keep going, to accomplish the standards that they set for themselves. So you can use jealousy for a positive spin. The nice thing about brain dumps or mind mapping is you can really take it wherever you want to go. If there's a certain topic that you can hone into and create those little itty bitty branches off of each of the mind map, you can dig a little bit deeper into what goals you want to resonate with a little bit more by asking yourself those questions. The third exercise that I did is looking at my perfect day. Funny enough, I actually did this in my November plan with me. I have a little bookmark and it just kind of goes through how I want my day to look like, because I am officially not working during the daytime, I'm working evening shifts now. So I need to kind of restructure my day, and I've already did this exercise on a surface level, but now I went in and actually deep dive on the feelings that go around it. I asked myself, how do I want to feel when I wake up? What do I want my day to look like? Who am I interacting with? Who is challenging me to accomplish things? What are the little pockets that bring me joy throughout the day? For me, I'm really big into things like reading, tea, sitting in front of a window and just looking at the outside world. I'm starting to turn into my Nana like that way. Just people watching, bird watching. One reason why I love this exercise is because although I might not have my perfect day today or tomorrow, there are small aspects that I can incorporate on a daily basis and build up a habit for them. So for example, in my November bookmark, you'll see that I want to wake up by 8:30, get out, listen to a podcast, go walking, have a cup of tea, sit down, read. Basically, if my successful self is doing this in the future, why should I not be implementing a few things right now to get me towards that life that I want to live? It's now time to choose your goals. In choosing your goals, I recommend focusing on 3 in particular. I've done 1 main goal of my business, my career, and then I've done 2 mini goals for finance as well as mental health. Less is more when it comes to this. Just because you're focusing on 3 goals right now does not mean you won't get the other ones done on your list. It just means it's not a focus for right now. Think about it like this. You're already doing everything else in your day-to-day life as you would normally, and now you're adding on top of 3 other things that you want to get done. If you try to add in 5 or 10 or 15 goals that you have on your list, the likelihood that you are going to get them done severely decreases. When picking the 3 goals, I asked myself, what goals have the most leverage? That means if I accomplish this 1 goal, it will make accomplishing my other goals a lot easier, a lot faster, and overall make me happier. If it doesn't positively affect your life in the next 3 years, it's not worth being on your list right now. The second question that I asked myself is, does it have variety? Looking at the different categories of my life, things like physical health, mental health, relationships, career. Another great resource for this specifically is to look into the level 10 life. I've done this as a bullet journaling spread before in the past and have gone through all the different categories, graded them myself, and it gives a little insight, and maybe you want to focus on ones that might need the most improvement. For me in particular, I have a really hard time choosing my goals because I don't want to pick a goal that is so difficult I'm not going to be able to accomplish it, nor really easy because then I have no motivation to do it. I need to have a sense of urgency, a sense of interest or passion that goes behind it. I have to be curious about my goals. I have to feel challenged. Now, I did mention that I'm only going to be doing my goals for 90 days. Why did I pick 90 days in comparison to doing it for a whole year? For me, I like to think of goals in terms of a year from now, a couple years from now, but those are more of my North Star guiding goals. I create goals that are way too far off. I don't actually end up feeling that sense of urgency. I'll think, I'll get to it later. I'll do it another time. There's no rush for me to get this done, and that is not what I need when it comes to accomplishing goals. 90 days is manageable enough that I have enough time to plan out items that I want to get done, create a little bit of an action plan, have flexibility to revise it, but it's also a shortened enough period that it does provide a little bit of that urgency that I need to accomplish things. I was one of those people in university when an assignment was due a few weeks from now, I had no stress about it, and then it's 24 or 48 hours before and I'm really feeling the pressure and I knock the assignment out of the park because there is that urgency. There's a time crunch. I need to get going. I am still like this even though I'm not a student anymore. So my goals need to be condensed into a shorter period of time for me to actually get them done. Next up is achieving your goals. So putting some pen to paper and getting to work on your plan. Number 1, write them down. Whether that is in a journal, on a sticky note, and you're posting it somewhere, whether that's in your phone, on your notes notes if you're more of a digital person. For me, again, I'm a pen paper girl. There's my journal right there. I also have used the sticky method before in the past, and I'm going to be getting them posted up on the windowsill behind me here because it's going to be in my view every single day. When writing down my goals, I did follow the SMART principle, so specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time relative. So instead of just saying focusing on my mental health, that is a really broad category, I've attached a specific set of criteria that goes along with it. I want to walk outside for 30 minutes every Monday to Friday at 8:30 a.m. and set myself up a little better in the mental health space to start my day with a clear and focused attitude. That is very detailed. That is also, though, going back to the exercises we did, going to help my business a little bit better, because if I'm in a good mental clarity in the morning, my career is going to be a little bit more focused and developed on as well, which will then in turn tumble into my financial ones. If I'm putting more time, energy, and effort happily, successfully into my business, will help with financials too. When it comes to my second goal of saving more money, I want to save $3,000 in a high yield savings account in the next 90 days so that I can become more financially set and build up an emergency fund to stop the stress of living from paycheck to paycheck. The third goal of developing my business career, this one was a little bit more challenging because I had a broad idea of all the things that I could do. So within the next 90 days, I want to record, edit, and post one YouTube video every week on Sunday to set my business up for better success, building trust into the community, and fostering better relations. Second step for achieving my goals is to connect with it on a daily basis. When I was doing block scheduling in particular, I have a whole video on that. It boosted my productivity like nobody's business. I ended up writing down the top 3 tasks that I want to get done. Now, these 3 tasks were related to specific goals that I wanted to do at the time, but I noticed by tapping in with my goals every single day, it kept me motivated, it kept them at the forefront of my brain and focused on them. And then all of my sub tasks that I ended up doing connected back to those 3 main tasks. I knew if I got those 3 ones done at the beginning of every single day, I was a little bit closer to the goal that I wanted to accomplish, and anything else on top of that was just a bonus. Number 3 is to schedule it into a calendar. This can be on your phone. For me personally, I love to use my bullet journal. I would use things like future log spreads and circle different dates for more important milestones or check-ins, weekly reflections. Number 4 is to look at the different obstacles that is going to come up. Asking yourself what might derail your progress, what might hinder you from getting your goals done. And then one thing that I found to be very helpful, do you have a lack of motivation or do you have a lack of clarity on what your goal is? If you do not have clarity exactly on what your goal is, go back in, do a little bit more deep diving. I have to thank my business professor. He always made us go in for case studies and put a little arrow underneath our point and dig a little bit deeper. Why is this relevant? How is this going to affect the case study that we're doing? Same thing with goals. Why is this goal relevant? What joy is it going to bring you? Asking all of those initial questions from the journaling prompt to re-clarify what your goal is, to reinvigorate you, to remotivate you, to do all the re's. I have to keep in mind personally that goal setting and goal accomplishing and achieving is a skill set. It takes time to develop. You have to go back in. You have to keep trying. You have to keep practicing. I wish I was gifted with a talent of accomplishing my goals, but it does not happen that way for me. So I really do have to put in the effort and energy up front to actually accomplish them a little bit better in the future. Number 5 for achieving the goals is to break it down into bite-sized pieces. Step 1 of this little category would be, what can you do right now? For my walking example, do I have the right shoes? Do I have the right outfits? I know it's getting cold in here. Where's my winter coat? I said I wanted to listen to a podcast. Are there ones that I can download and have prepped to go every single morning before I head out the door? One of my obstacles is getting out of bed in the morning. How do I combat that? I have my phone across the room. I have my clothes picked out. The less amount of things that I can do in the morning, the easier it is going to be for me to get out, do my walk, do my podcast, set myself up for some mental clarity. Another thing for getting your bite-sized action pieces set up is to write a list of the different actions that you can be taking after those initial right now steps. I personally like to plan out my goals on a weekly basis. You can do it on a monthly basis, but I do recommend that you are not planning out your entire action plan right at the beginning. If you are like me, I have so much joy planning things out. I feel motivated, I feel hungry to go after my goals, and then a few weeks pass and I haven't thought about it, I haven't looked back on that plan that I did, and I am no longer as passionate towards my goal as I should be. So by having more of a weekly check-in plan and listing out the different things that I need to get done, be more likely that I'm going to continue going with my goal. The nice thing too about planning it on a weekly, bi-weekly, or even monthly basis is you have a little bit more flexibility to work with. Maybe you noticed week one, this one task you did worked really, really well. You try something a little bit different the next week because we are allowed to experiment, and you notice maybe it doesn't work as well, so I'm going to tweak it a little bit here. I noticed that I had a little setback, or I'm further ahead in my action plan as well, because that can happen too. If you already had everything pre-planned ahead for yourself, you might not feel as aligned with the initial steps and say, I'm done. To kind of tie into that, so I said at the beginning of the week, I like to have a weekly start. Here's the actions I want to get done. At the end of the week, I have a little weekly check-in. I focus instead on self-compassion and curiosity. I ask myself, why isn't this working? What could I improve? Is there something holding me back? Am I maybe approaching something the wrong way that can be improved? Number 6 for accomplishing those goals is having an accountability partner. Now, this is probably something I could do a little bit better. I have check-ins every so often with a couple of small business friends, but I notice I do a lot better when I have a little bit more of those regular, consistent check-ins. There are ways that you can do this outside of your own individual family and friends. There are Facebook groups you can be a part of. You can have a paid mentorship. What you are doing, you've never done before, and it is an experiment. So give yourself a little bit of grace. If something is not working for you, try out something a little bit different. That is definitely advice that I take with myself all the time in every single situation that I do. Let me know what your goal is down below. I would love to help support you and give you a little bit of encouragement. We are in this together, trying to get our goals accomplished.